Hi, welcome back to Power Maths. And we're on Year 4 Practice Book 4C, and we're starting right at the beginning, which is decimals 2. And here are some of the words that we might be using. So tenths means to split something in 10 equal parts. Hundredths is when we split something into 100 equal parts. A decimal point shows us the place value of decimals which come after the point. So here we've got an example, 0.1 is 0 ones and 1/10. And here we've got 0.01, which is 0 ones, 0 tenths, and 1/100th. Okay, equivalent just means the same as. A whole number means a number without a fraction or a decimal. We sometimes call that an integer. Rounding means to simplify a number. So we might be rounding decimal numbers to the nearest whole number. We've got the signs for greater than, less than, and equal to. If we order numbers, we usually order them from smallest to highest or highest to lowest. And when we're comparing numbers, we're seeing if a number is bigger than another one or smaller than another one or the same as. To convert, we might be converting fractions into decimals or decimals into fractions. So 1/2 might become 0.5 or 0.5 might become 1/2. The decimal place tells us how many decimal numbers we have. So 1 decimal place would just be tenths. 2 decimal places would be tenths and hundredths. Ascending means to get bigger and descending means to get smaller. Making a whole, and we're going to discover together. You're just going to have a look at these questions to begin with, have a think about these on your own. So we've got Jamie and Alex. There's a strawberry jam recipe, and it says 1 kilogram of strawberries, 1/2 kilogram of sugar, and 4 lemons. Jamie has weighed out 0.7 kilograms of strawberries. Alex has weighed out 0.46 kilograms of strawberries. Now the question says, Jamie and Alex both want to make strawberry jam. A, how many kilograms of strawberries does Jamie need to pick? How many kilograms of strawberries does Alex need to pick? Okay, press pause now and have a think about those questions. When you're ready, press play again. Let's think of this 100 square as one or as a whole. So each one of those squares is 1/100th. Okay, 1/100th, 2/100ths, 3/100th, 4/100ths. And if we go all the way down to the bottom, we've made 10/100ths, and that is equal to a tenth. And that's because there's 10 of those in a whole. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And let's go all the way back to 1/10. And each one of these squares is 100th. So there we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hundredths. Okay, and there down to 1/100th. So that's the difference between a tenth and a 100th. So back to the question. We can see here there's 7 tenths. So how many more tenths is needed to make the whole? And as you can see here, it is 3 more tenths. 1, 2, 3. This is how it would look in a part-whole model. Okay, we can see we've got 1 whole is made of 0.7 or 7 tenths. Okay, we've got 7 in the tenths place value column, and 0.3, okay, or 3 tenths. And the 3 there is in the tenths place value column. So 3 more tenths are needed to make 1 whole. And 3 tenths, we write that as 0.3. 0 ones and 3/10 after the decimal point. Jamie needs to pick another 0.3 kilograms of strawberries. And that is how we answer the question in a full answer there. B, the number is 0.46. It is made up of 46 hundredths, or 4/10 and 6 hundredths. 4/10 equals 40. 4 times 10 is 40, and 6 hundredths. So that's 46 hundredths, or 0.46. Another 54 hundredths are needed to make one whole. And our 54 hundredths look like this: 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 hundredths. So that's 5/10 and 4 hundredths. Look how we write that down as a decimal. So 0 ones, 5/10, 4 hundredths. And if we add that to 0.46, 4/10 and 6 hundredths, that's 4/10, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 hundredths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alex needs to pick another 0.54 kilograms of strawberries. So question number 1A says, use the models to complete the calculations. 0 point something plus 0 point something equals 1. So we're adding tenths to make 1. And you can see here on our 100 square, calculation written out, and also using counters. And the counter value is 0.1, or 1/10. Question number 2, 0 point something plus 0 point something equals 1. And this time we've just got the counters there to show us. Question C, now this is tenths and hundredths. That's 2 decimal places. This is 1 decimal place, this is 2 decimal places. So using just the 100 square, and you calculate what we need to add together to make one whole. And finally, work out the missing numbers in the part whole model. Press pause and then play again when you're ready. You can see we're adding 2 tenths together to make a whole. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red tenths, okay? And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 white tenths, okay? And if we add them together, we get a whole, and you can see that here as well, represented by the counters. So on our next model here, representation, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tenths. 8 tenths, and we're adding 2 tenths, and that makes our whole. Now this one's slightly more complicated because we're going into our hundredths, and this time our tenths are going horizontal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tenths. And we've got 1, 2, 3 hundredths. And we're going to add that to 1 tenth. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hundredths. Now, if we look at our related facts here, 83 plus 17 equals 100. Okay, so that's what the calculation would be if it was 100 times bigger. But we're actually using decimals, so it's 100 times smaller. So 0.83 plus 0.17 is 100 hundredths, which is equal to 1. Okay, question 2. So thinking about our 100 square again, we've got 0.1 or 1/10, 0.9 or 9/10. So here we have 1/10, and we're going to add 9/10. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9/10. And as you can see, if we add 9/10 to 1/10, we get a whole. So in there, we've got one whole. 0.5, what would we add to 0.5 to get 1? Here, we've got 5/10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/10. And what do we need to add to 5/10 to get a whole? Well, we're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/10. So 5/10 plus 5/10 makes a whole. So that's 5. Remember, we need to show that place value. So we need to show it as 5/10. Right, a little bit more complicated again now because we've got our hundredths. Okay, so we've got 0.27. What would I add to that to make 1? So here we've got 0.27. That's 2/10, so 2 whole sticks, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hundredths. So what do we add to this to get a whole? Well, we're going to add the tenths first. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tenths, so 0.7, and 1, 2, 3 hundredths. So that's 0.73, 7/10 and 3 hundredths. 0.7/10, ooh, a strange 7 there, and 3 hundredths. Did this one catch you out? We've got 9/10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9/10. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hundredths. 0.99. And what do we add to make a whole? Just 1 hundredth. But this is where we need to be really careful when we record our answer, because remember that first decimal place is tenths, and we're not adding a tenth, but we're adding 100. 0, no ones, 0.0, no tenths, and 100. We have to be really careful about that, okay? The way we write down our answer. So we're making sure that the place value is correct. Okay, so now have a go at the questions in your book. If you're not sure of how to do one of the questions, have a look at the teaching that we did earlier. If you're still not sure, you can email a teacher, but you might have to wait a little bit of time to get a reply. So maybe if you're going to be sensible about this, have a look at the answers after. Have a look at the answer for the question and think very carefully what you would need to do to get that answer. Okay, sometimes that's the best way of finding out how to do something. Okay, but don't just write the answer down because that's pointless. Work out what you needed to do to get that answer. If you finished all the questions in your book and want an extra challenge, Here it is. Have a look at this question and see if you can solve it.